Hey guys, welcome to Muscle Memory. My name's Malcolm. We're talking to the world champion of the National Wrestling Alliance. He's defending that championship at Samhain 2 against EC3 in Tampa, Florida, October 26th. Thom Latimer, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, we're doing the show now in Tampa, like you said. We're not in Sarasota, so anyone that doesn't know that, yeah, make sure that you come to Tampa. Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's EC3's rematch. He's a guy that's lost it all. I'm fully aware of that. I'm fully aware it takes 3 seconds to lose what took me 22 years to achieve. So we're both going in there with a bit of a chip on our shoulders because I got a retain and he's got a take.
That's fair, man. This is gonna be really exciting. I want to talk about the moment of you winning that NWA championship at 76 in Philadelphia. What did it mean to you the second day you were handed this championship? You're like, wow, I am now the holder of this historic title.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying earlier, I don't really think that'll ever sink in. I think that once I'm an old man, which isn't far, which isn't long away, I'll probably look back on that and be like, wow. And I said this to somebody the other day that like I have to put my 12-year-old Tom's shoes on to sometimes just remember how sort of lucky, blessed I am to be able to make a full-time living doing this and be the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, especially after the sort of long journey I've had. So, because it's very easy to sort of look to the next thing and not appreciate the moment. And so I try my best to do that because that's a big moment to me. But it's a bit like anything that you always think it's going to feel a certain way and it doesn't, or it feels different. And so for me, it's like it's also okay. Here it is. Now go be a world champion, and there's no playbook for that. This is the first time that I've so, again, it's like it's a good pressure. It's a pressure that I need. It's a pressure that I want. But it's definitely okay, it's a new chapter. It's time to really suck it up and get stuck in. So, for me, I'm instantly thinking, okay, what's next? Like I said, looking back, I'm sure that I'll be like, oh, wow, that was cool, and I am. I'm just saying it's like, back to business.
No, of course, man. And like, what does it mean to you to now be like the face of the National Wrestling Alliance? Because as a world champion, you are the poster boy. You are the guy that people look towards when they're talking about the company. What does it mean to be the new face of the NWA?
Well, for me, again, it's definitely something that I've been wanting for a long time. I didn't for the longest time. The last thing I want to be is the poster boy for a company or have any what's the word, responsibilities. I didn't, and times have changed, and I've grown up and matured as a person, and with that comes this want to be the face of the place. And it's a new test for me, because before I'd screw it up. I'd muck up my chances. So now to also be trusted by that company and the bosses and everything, to be able to go, okay, you're our guy, we're choosing you, we're putting all our money on you, our bets are on you. Then it's taken me, like I said, 22 years to get to this point, but I'm finally at a place where I wish I was like this at 21. I wish I had this mind. I wish but you can't, right? It's just taken me that long to sort of figure it out. So I'm just ready for it, and I'm happy. I'm blessed, and I'm honored to be in that position. I just I want to be exactly what I should have been 22 years ago.
Amazing, man. Like, if there was a book about Thom Latimer that was written, what would you title it? Given like your journey in pro wrestling over the last 20 odd years, what would you call the title of that book? Seeing your journey now to being now a world champion.
Some idiot from Chesterfield, England. Um, I don't know because this is the thing. I, especially the last sort of, I'm 5 years sober now, but like the 10 years, a decade before that, I was pretty much drunk the entire time, and so if there was a book, I'd have to go around and ask everybody, hey. Tell me stories because I don't remember any of it, and there's probably a lot of things that I don't want to hear too. So that would be the thing. I'd have to go around and ask everyone because I don't remember a lot of that time. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know.
You've been very open talking about your sobriety and whatnot, which is amazing to see like you're in a healthy place nowadays. What advice would you give maybe to your younger self now looking at where you are now?
Oh man, the thing is, he wouldn't have listened. So I could have. It's like the older guys in wrestling, they say, hey, you do realize that give it a couple of years, your back will hurt, your knees will hurt, you won't be able to do this, you won't be able to do that. And you go, yeah, yeah, whatever. Because you don't think that these things are going to happen to you. You think, oh, I'll be absolutely fine. And so, there's definitely a level of that. Like, unfortunately, it just takes as long as it takes to want to change or be different. And so I'd probably tell him to listen to what I was saying because this is very, very serious. But I know that he wouldn't listen, and so it's like anything. It's just like you have to be ready. You can't force anyone to do anything. You have to be the one to take charge in whatever that is.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I know he wouldn't listen. But if he was to listen, it would be listen. Get sober now because you're about to waste 10 years of your life. Not waste it, but I'm saying you took the long way around when you didn't need to. Again, stupid kid from Chesterfield, England.
Amazing, man. No, I mean, it's definitely important to, look back at your past and be able to, recognize your wrongs. And you've done that before, and it's great to see that how open you are about it now. I feel like that's definitely motivational for a lot of people that are maybe going through their own demons and whatnot. So it's definitely good to hear when you are on the other side, you're able to talk about it openly and freely. And, that helps a lot of people that are probably watching this right now. But talking more about the NWA. So now you guys are on X or Twitter, showing power and whatnot, your pay-per-views, your events. What does it mean to you to now have that show on a different platform? Because we've seen a different platform changes to NWA over the past couple of years. What does it mean now to be on this platform of Twitter or X?
Oh, yeah, we're always excited. Stickers on anything, we're excited, and we want to show the fans what we've got. We want to entertain. We want people to enjoy what they're viewing, to give an alternative to the niche that is pro wrestling. I'll say I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of stuff. I can only presume from what I've read on the internet that it was sort of in 5 weeks there'll be something else. Now I don't know if that's true or not. I presume that we'll probably be on X for the foreseeable future until something else comes along. But I feel like from the grumblings that I've heard, that the landscape looks bright. So I think that a lot of people use X. My mum doesn't though, so we are missing out on that. Not that we're trying to target mums here, but I mean there is obviously a population that isn't on X. So there's that. But I mean, as far as the wrestling community, there's obviously a big wrestling community on X and online. So at least it's easily accessible if you do have X. And it's different. Again, it's going to be a question of looking back to see how it did and see how it went, because this is the first time that we've ever done anything like this, and I don't really know many other things besides like the odd documentary that's sort of done this. I could be way off, but again, it's an exciting time, and if you're a wrestling fan, it's easily accessible. So check it out on the NWA official X. I want to say Twitter, but X.
Amazing, man. In 2024, a lot of people have different opinions on NWA. Some people love the product. Some people maybe aren't watching it currently, but are trying to get back into it. What's your thoughts on people that are trying to get back into watching NWA? Why should people watch the NWA in 2024 if they're maybe coming back to the product or maybe never seen it before?
Um, I think that we try and give wrestling is still wrestling, right? It's not you can't you it's you can't fit a circle into a square, so it's still wrestling. But I feel like we like the bigger guys. We like the guys that look more like men clobbering each other. We're also a bit of a circus, a bit of a freak show too. So there's lots of sort of different variety in the company. And I think that if you aren't the biggest fan of what is current wrestling, or if you just want to check out and see, because there's a lot of guys that are up and coming. So you've got a lot of guys that probably will be using it as a stepping stone one day to go to the big places, and that's already happened. And then you've got guys like me and Knox, Murdoch, Aaron Stevens, EC3, a bunch of guys that have already been around and done some stuff. So if you're wondering where those guys have gone, they're there. And again, for me, it's kind of like it's like the last place where I can truly be me and be wrestling. So I'd say if you want if you again, it's still wrestling, but if you want an alternative and you want a little bit of a blast from the past and you want to see some good old wrestling, then NWA is for you.
If you're looking at the current free agent scene right now as the NWA champion, scouting out possibilities, who's someone that on that free agent scene you would love to come or love to see come into the NWA, maybe eventually work their way up to challenging you for that world championship?
Well, I mean, I don't know how far we've got to look outside of the NWA because I mean, Birchall has been he's just arrived. He's been with us for a few months, but I'm saying Birchall. I know me and him, two Brits, could tear it up. I mean, I was a kid watching him, get signed to WWE and do all that. While I was still in training. So he's definitely a guy that I know that me and him could put on some good matches together. We both can wrestle that style. Both bigger boys. And then you've got guys like Kerry Morton in time. Once he puts on some size and this and that, then he's going to be a contender in the world heavyweight slot. And then a guy for sure is Thrill Billy. I mean, he's a monster. Every time I step in the ring with him, I go, "Oh, this could be it. This is the last time you lace your boots." He's an all round guy. He has the look. He's a big guy. He's a great wrestler. He cuts a promo. He just oozes charisma. Like for me, I always look at Thrill Billy and go, if I was to do like a create a wrestler, he's
Yeah.
the wrestler. He's even got the mullet. You know what I mean? But it works for him. Anyone else, you'd be like, look at that weirdo with the mullet. But with him, it just works. So Thrill Billy, I 100% know that in time he will be world champion. Not on my watch, but at some point. And then I also throw in there, he's a super new guy to us, and that's Carson Drake.
Okay.
He again another guy that uses charisma that just an all rounder. He knows his role. He knows who he is, especially as a heel. Like he's going in there and doing all the right things as you should. I'm a baby face, but I'm not the best baby face. I'm not. I've got heel tendencies. I'm naturally a heel. So I need my baby face. I need my heels to be really heelish, and you can put me in the room with Carson, and he will cover the fact that I'm a new baby face, and I've got heelish tendencies. He can cover that because he's such a good heel. So again, he's definitely a guy that down the line. Again, these guys are all super young. So give him a bit more wear and tear, and a bit of time. These guys are going to be really something.
Definitely. And like also still looking at that free agent scene. So if there's like a wrestler that is working their way up in the business that wants to get to a level where they can join like the NWA. Recently a wrestler to mention Mr. Grimm, the Hitman for Hire. He was a part of NWA 76. He was part of Power Tapings. He did amazing stuff there. How can people work their way up if they're on the indie scene trying to get to a place like NWA?
I mean, wrestling, as you know, is always kind of who you know. It's like that there. It's networking. So, hopefully you know someone who knows someone who knows someone. And then, you can probably get a look. But I'll honestly say like that, especially the first sort of bunch of, I'd say, green guys that got hired and have stayed around, they all would come in and help put up the ring. Because that stuff still matters today, right? If you're a young guy getting a business, you tag along to someone going to whatever show it is. You have your boots and your gear in there. If they need someone, yes, sir, I'll do it. And you help put up the ring. You don't take people's catering and food. You don't. I'm not saying that you run around and silver serve everybody, but I'm saying that. I mean, even when I got to TNA for the first 6 months, I didn't sit down. People are like, sit down, sit down. I'm like, no, Kurt Angle's there. Kurt might want that chair. Who am I to sit in that chair? You know what I mean? And I guess times have changed a little bit. But that stuff still goes a long way. I notice it. If there's a guy at the end of the night and he's clearing up the whole locker room, I go, oh, he gets it. He wants to be here. He's okay putting in a bit of grunt work. And so back to my point, a lot of the guys first, like Mims and people like that, they were essentially there either as enhancement talent or there just to help put up the ring. Look at them now. Mims is a national heavyweight champion. And there's a bunch of other guys too. I can't think off the top of my head, but they all came in that way, helping put up the ring, get an opportunity. Next thing you know, you're on the roster, and that's kind of how this place goes, which is nice because there's a certain level of working your way up rather than just waltzing in. There's definitely a level of you got to pay your dues a little bit, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, of course, of course. Three more questions for you because I'm gonna respect your time, of course, Mr. World Champion. Someone that someone that you know very well, Kamille. She's been doing amazing stuff in AEW with Mercedes Mone. What's your thoughts on seeing her rise in that company and seeing what she's doing currently?
Oh, it's great. I think she's wrestling tonight. I don't know when this is gonna air, but yeah, Wednesday night. She's wrestling tonight. Oh, I'm super excited and pumped for her. I mean, she is a star. She looks like a star. She carries herself like a star. When she walks out, you go, "Oh, who's that?" If she's walking through an airport, you go, "Oh, who's that?" So I'm not just saying that because she's my wife, but I am slightly biased, obviously. But again, she's been able to. I had to go through FCW developmental after wrestling on the UK indie scene for about 8 9 years. I still needed those 2 years in developmental to know where the hard camera was, to cut a promo, to you know what I mean, like to do all these things that you don't think about, especially back then in the UK. You're more of a cheerleader. You don't need to sell that. Stuff doesn't need to make sense. It's all for the kids. There's no hard cam. You work in the crowd. You're not worrying about TV because there's no TV. So I had to go through that whole process to sort of become a better pro wrestler. And she didn't. She trained at Bubba and Devon's, hit the Indies for a little bit, made it into NWA as Nick Aldis's bodyguard, and then started wrestling. And we would occasionally wrestle around, at school and things like that. But ultimately, she's been able to do it all sort of off her own back. So that's what really impresses me, because she didn't have developmental, she didn't have this and that. She sort of picked it up as you go.
Amazing, man. Yeah, no, she's been doing such great work, and I feel like a lot of people are really like realizing now. It's like when she was NWA Women's World Champion, it's like she is amazing in the ring, and now you can see her on that bigger platform, and whatnot. It's great to see. Next up, I wanted to talk about Nick Aldis, someone that you're very close with as well. Honestly, he's been general manager on SmackDown for a while now. He's done a great job. Would you want to see him wrestle inside of a WWE ring?
Oh yeah, definitely. And never say never, right? It's wrestling. It's like when we talked about me winning the belt. I didn't believe it until it was actually in my hand, because you can't, because it's wrestling. It's very easy to be like, oh yeah, great, and then you just get hurt. You're not hurt, but like you get butt hurt. Like, ooh. So I've always been told, until it happens, don't believe anything, and so that's kind of how I go with it. But I would absolutely love to see that, and I feel like Nick deserves it. I mean, Nick, and I've said this before too, he's a guy you could put in any position. He can do everything. He's good at everything. He's just an all around talent. Like there's a lot of qualities of Nick that I wish that I had. And so I also, like I said, feel like he deserves it. Will he get it? I don't know, because again, it's wrestling, but it is also wrestling, so you never know. But I mean, there is money sat on the table there, and they could go that route, and hopefully they will. And I know to him too, it would mean the world.
Amazing. And then final question. Samhain is this weekend, you EC3 for the NWA World Championship. If he's watching this right now, what's your final message to him before that big rematch?
Well, he told me last night on the NWA live stream that he needed a bit of time off after losing the title to me, and he needed some time because he's had a heavy schedule. He's been defending that thing all year, Japan everywhere, right? So I want that. I want him at his best. If he needed to take a month off to recover and be 110% and come after me, that's what I want. I want to wrestle the best EC3 I can. So I hope that he comes fully prepared, fully energized. That he spent lots of time on a foam roller and doing whatever other tricks and gizmos he needs to do, some yoga or whatever. And I want him to bring it, because I'm going to bring it, because ultimately, like, I've had a taste of it now. I've been champ for maybe five weeks. That ain't long enough for me. So he's gonna have to bring it just as much as I'm gonna bring it. And ultimately, I have taken the last thing from him. Like, that's he'll talk about me having, being in love and having a wife and a dog and a house and all this kind of stuff, right? He doesn't. He's just wrestling just for that belt. Well, I took that belt. So I've also got to remember that I've got a very upset and probably vengeance-filled EC3 to deal with. But this isn't my first rodeo. So I want him at his best. I hope he comes at his best. He also said he would fight fair. So we'll see. Again, wrestling, I don't believe it until it's over. But I know for a fact that I'll walk in there champ and I'll walk out champ, and he's going to be a very, very, very upset boy on Saturday.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. EC3, he gonna beat your ass. That's what I heard, honestly. That's what I heard. But Tom, thank you so much for your time, man. Where can I find you on social media? They're not already following you.
I think both my X and Instagram are Thomas underscore Latimer underscore. I think I have a Facebook thing too, but I don't know what it is. But yeah, check us out there, and of course follow the NWA X and watch 605 on Tuesdays.
That's amazing. Tom, thank you so much for your time, man. Guys, my name is Malcolm. This is Muscle Memory. You can watch NWA Samhain on, well, on X, on Twitter. Go ahead and go watch it. Go ahead and go follow. Do what you have to do. Guys, my name is Malcolm. This is Muscle Memory, and we're out.
We going up like 1,000. I'ma flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'ma flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. Hey.